quickly, Adam Schefter and the latest news around the league. Let's start with Chandler Jones, Jeffrey.
Laura, a short time ago, the Arizona Cardinals coach Cliff Kingsbury said that Chandler Jones will undergo season-ending biceps surgery. That's a blow to Arizona's pass rush. Not going to have him for the rest of the season. He was arguably their best defensive player, one of the top defensive players in the NFL, and they're now out without Chandler Jones. And the Patriots are back at their facility today, working out, getting ready for Sunday's game against the Denver Broncos. Big matchup for them, and it looks like at this point Cam Newton, according to Field Yates, is on track to return to practice tomorrow as well, which will put him on track to play Sunday against the Denver Broncos. And Melvin Gordon, the Broncos running back, was arrested for DUI. The Broncos let him come in. He did go to meetings. He did not practice. Vic Fangio, the Broncos coach, said he would talk later this week about whether Melvin Gordon would be disciplined. Clearly the league could take action. And at the same practice, Drew Lock was back practicing, full participant. So he is on track to play against Cam Newton on Sunday. And also Sam Darnold out. Joe Flacco starts again for the Jets.
Great stuff, Shefty. You're with us all show long. Let's get to Tuesday night football. That was a whole lot of fun. Bills and Titans taking each other on, and the Titans barely practiced. They had like 2 total practices in 16 days without playing, but Dan Orlovsky might not have mattered. Here's Ryan Tannehill getting ready to go, and first drive of the game, Titans from the 16. He gets it to A.J. Brown.
Off the turnover, they put A.J. Brown out, extended. He goes double move, eyes back to the quarterback. Great timing by Tannehill. Early touchdown for the Titans.
Off to a hot start. They are up 7-0. Second quarter, we're tied at 7. Titans on the 1 with second and goal. So, of course, you're going to get it to Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I'm a score on this one, though. This is about the offensive line. This offensive line just creates a massive hole. Derrick Henry, good vision. Easy touchdown for their run game.
Titans go up by 7 there, and then less than 30 seconds to play in the half. Could they score again? Well, of course they could. Tannehill, easy touchdown.
Best red zone quarterback in football right now. Do not do that to your knee. Thank God he's okay.
So scary.
But this is something he does really well. Make good decisions, use his athleticism.
Well, that wasn't a good decision.
Not athletic on the celebration, but anyway, third quarter under 2 minutes to go there in the third quarter, and Tannehill to Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, Jonnu Smith out there as a wide receiver type split, one-step slant right now. Get it before the DB does. Good touchdown for Tennessee.
Titans win big, 42-16, and Tannehill carrying over from a successful theme from 2019. He became just the third QB to ever boast a completion percentage of over 70%, both overall and in the red zone. He joined the company of Drew Brees and our friend Steve Young. And last night, Tannehill 5 for 5 for 3 touchdowns in the red zone. You mentioned it, Dan, bringing his season numbers to 14 for 18, 9 touchdowns and no picks. That's insane and very efficient. So, Keyshawn, this team now 4-0, more impressive. They're now 11-3 in the regular season since Tannehill became the starter. Why have they been so successful with him under center?
Well, it's their recipe. It's what Mike Vrabel wants to do. It's run the football, effective with Derrick Henry, not allow him to turn the football over. You see in the red zone, he doesn't turn the football over. That's a recipe. Get the ball to A.J. Brown. Make sure that you're doing those things, and he's been very efficient at doing it. 21-28, barely 200 yards, 3 touchdowns in the air last night, 1 on the ground with a plunge. You can win a championship like that. I know everybody likes the Patrick Mahomes, high-flying, throwing it all over the lot, but if you look back in the history of this NFL, defense, running the ball, and in Super Bowls, a few big throws here and there, but you don't win Super Bowls by throwing for 500 yards in a game. Tom Brady did it in the comeback against the Atlanta Falcons, but for the most part, Dan, that does not happen.
Yeah, the reason this offense is clicking so well, though, is Ryan Tannehill's a top 10 quarterback. I mean, he's a top 10 quarterback since he became the starter. He's playing MVP-level football. And it's the perfect example of, like, we talk scheme sometimes and we talk player traits sometimes. Well, this is the perfect marriage. Ryan Tannehill's a great ball-faking quarterback on the move, throwing to wide receivers, crossing the field into tight windows. And their scheme is hard ball play action, wide receivers that are good enough to make contested catches in those play action windows, and everybody on their offense has confidence. That's why their offense is so good right now. They are a pass first to score, run second to win football team. And the coaches and the players are the perfect fit for it. Tennessee's offense is outstanding.
Yeah, Tannehill said, too, they might have been a little motivated by some of the chatter around the league about them, certainly dealing with the COVID issues there. But let's get to the other side of the ball here, Marcus. It seemed like the Titans' defense had that Bills O-line confused all night long. What did you see out of them?
Yeah, Els, thank God we finally get to some defense.
Let's
Both
go.
of these guys talking about the I want to get to Vrabel and how he summoned his inner Bill Belichick last night against Josh Allen in this offense, because they have been potent throughout this season. But Vrabel had a plan. And what he did was he wanted to play with protection and play with the offensive lineman high. You see the overload? He brings the fourth guy off the slot. This is not a pressure, but it's disguised as one. Offensive line slides left, confused, free hitter to Josh Allen. Got to make the play, get him on the ground. This is a part of what makes Josh Allen good. Again, you see him playing with the offensive line protection. Get him to slide left, bring the guy off the slot, make the play, fellas. Think about this. This should be 2 negative plays. Force a throw, force a hurry up. And then this, he has a linebacker creep into the line, the opposite side, brings Malcolm Jenkins late into this rush, another free hitter at Josh Allen. Josh Allen did a tremendous job delivering the ball, but he used their protection against them. He created a pressure look, meaning you either bring 5 or 6 more than the offensive line can block, but he didn't do that. He just used their protection against them and disguised it as a pressure. Vrabel was on fire last night, and I usually watch the games, have fun doing it, but from a technical aspect, this is what you see from defensive coordinators a lot of the time when they have a lot of success defensively.
Yeah, Marcus, you're spot on. And even when they didn't bring pressure, defensively, they said, we're going to make Josh Allen play patient quarterback. And let's see if he could do it for 4 quarters. And I thought the first drive of the third quarter was a perfect example that last night he could not. All right, first play of the drive. It's cover 2 where you got a squat corner and that alley defender. A little pivot from the slot from Cole Beasley. That corner stays outside, even though he's got vision. 1st and 10, let's get the completion. They're playing zone defense. Great. 2 plays later, let's do the same exact thing. Cole Beasley in the slot. Little slot pivot. You see cover 2, corner up top again. Good job. 1st down. 4 plays later, we're going to do the same thing. Slot pivot, go right on the outside. They're going to play cover 2 again, the 3rd straight time. But Josh Allen goes, I'm going to force this ball on the outside. Cole Beasley's open. Just throw it to him and play patient football at 2nd and 4. But you assumed that the corner Butler was going to fall off and take it since you had thrown it twice already. And that's how it led to interceptions. I remember in 2011, I was getting ready to play against the New England Patriots. Peyton Manning was with us in the Colts. And he kept saying, you got to outgrind Bill Belichick. Outgrind him. And that's exactly what Vrabel challenged Josh Allen to do. Will you outgrind our defense? And he didn't. It's got to be a learning example for him. But Marcus is spot on. That was a Bill Belichick type of defensive performance from the Titans.
Well, it makes sense because Vrabel's certainly from that Belichick coaching tree, and people get hired all the time because of that, but it really looks like what Vrabel's doing is coming to fruition. The Titans get their first win against a 4-0 or better team since the Panthers in Week 7 of 2003. Hey, the Le'Veon Bell project in New York has come to an end after just 17 games after being released by the Jets. Where will he land? We're getting into that. Plus, is it time for a quarterback change in Indy? The Colts defense has been
Breeze can step up and throw and complete. There's Jared Cook. First touch of the night is a touchdown, New Orleans. Hill thought about throwing. He's going to run it in for the touchdown. 4th down and 7. Williams. And I think he's going to be short. Marshawn Lattimore might have saved the game and won it for New Orleans.
After the Saints on Monday Night Football, 3 teams all sitting at 3-2 in the NFC South. The Bucs, Saints, and Panthers. You see it there. Marcus Spears, give me a reason the Saints will win this division.
Els, it's because of their offense. Listen, Drew Brees has been really, really good. We talked about his arm strength, but he's still finding ways to put at least 30 points on the board, dinking and dunking and taking his opportunities when they come, like the pass to Jared Cook, using Alvin Kamara. But my concern is this defense. If anything is going to hold them back, the secondary for the Saints has to get better in order for this team to be a contender.
Pete, finish the sentence. The Bucs win the division because
Tom Brady and Todd Bowles. If Tom Brady somehow can continue to make magic, then I think that when you look at them offensively, they got a lot of weapons, whether it's Mike Evans and eventually they get Godwin back. They won't have O.J. Howard, and somehow there's a resurgence of Gronkowski. But Todd Bowles in that defense, adding pressure, doing things like that, creating turnovers, something he's known for, and also the Saints got to take a little bit of step back.
How about the Panthers, Dan?
Well, Teddy Bridgewater in this Joe Brady's offense, the best version he's ever seen. He sees hot to his right. He knows if those defenders come, I only got one option. The ball has to go to the tailback. Just operate the play. This is exactly what they brought him in to do. He's always been that. But on 3rd and 10, in tight windows, now, Teddy, can you elevate in this offense and make a tight window throw? That's not Teddy Bridgewater of old. This is a new Teddy Bridgewater, and the reason they're 3-2 is a big part to his play.
Yeah, 31-year-old offensive coordinator Joe Brady has implemented pre-snap motion on 42% of Carolina's plays, finding a lot of success with it. They're registering a league-leading 7 yards per play when using motion. You told us about this yesterday, Dan.
Makes my heart warm.
Also, the most by any team since we started tracking the metric 4 seasons ago. Dan is so excited about the pre-snap motion. How about the AFC South, guys? In Indianapolis, it's been a tough season for Phillip Rivers. He's thrown 5 interceptions and trails only Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold for the worst red zone QBR in the league. And that all coming despite the Colts averaging the 4th best starting field position in the league. So it's not like they're not giving him a good chance to have success. But Dan, is it time for the Colts to make a change? Keep in mind, Jacoby Brissett is their backup there.
Yeah, it's time. It's time for the Colts to make a change because the only thing that's going to keep this football team out of the playoffs is turnovers. And we don't have to just focus on this year when it comes to Phillip Rivers, because my biggest concern right now is the turnovers that are in non-panic situations. Like a lot of times the quarterbacks in the NFL turn the ball over because we're panicking, pressure or whatnot. But Phillip Rivers is doing it without panic. This is just a triangle-built concept against cover 3 zone. This is perfect. Understanding Phillip's looking to his right. He's going to see rotation. Comes back. Mo Alley Cox is open. That's a perfect throw. Look at the pocket. It's great protection. But for some reason, he wants to get to number 5, backside. Look at this pocket. This is good eyes. This is exactly how you operate. But there's no pressure there. Why are you panicking with the football? The safety. Look at where he is. He's on the right hash. Now that safety's going to come. This is a play action pass. The tailback's going to have to go get him. He should be in the middle of the 0, but he's on the W in the Browns. The middle of the O, and he's on the W. The safety happens for him. And again, this is not a 5-game sample. Going back to the start of last year, Phillip Rivers is 3rd in the NFL in turnovers, behind Daniel Jones and Jameis Winston. And the worst one is he's 2nd in the NFL when it comes to interceptions in his own territory since last year behind Jameis Winston. Not only is he hurting his team with turnovers, he's hurting his team in his own territory with turnovers. This is not going to change. This is who Phillip is right now, unfortunately. He's a Hall of Famer, but he can't be the starting quarterback of the Colts anymore because he's hurting their team. That's the one thing you can't do.
100% agree with you, Dan. And look, we talked about Jacoby Brissett and how well he was playing before the injury last year. But I believe as well, it gives you another element to the team. And Phillip Rivers was brought in to steady the ship and basically make those throws that you just showed in order to pick up first downs. This is a running football team based on their offensive line being good and making splash plays with T.Y. and those guys on the outside. But when you look at what Phillip Rivers is doing, to your point, he's taken away everything they brought him in to do. So now you implement Jacoby Brissett in this offense, who also gives you a little bit more athleticism as we see that start to play itself out in the NFL as well. I think they're in better hands with Jacoby Brissett. I thought he played well last year in spots and in moments. They gave him a contract in order to reassure him that he was the guy. Now give him a shot to take this team where it can possibly go.
Phillip Rivers' time is certainly up in Indianapolis, and I understand Frank Wright has a relationship with him from their San Diego Charger days. There's no question about it. He helped Phillip make some money, $25 million. But this is what I would say. Frank, who played with me, I hate to date myself, but Frank played with me, Dan, at the New York Jets, and great guy. It's time for him to go over to Phillip and say, look, I'm going to give way to Jacoby Brissett. I want you to stay loose. You know how coaches tell you, just stay ready because we're going to need you at some point. Give him that message. Allow Jacoby Brissett to take over a football team that has a chance and an opportunity because of the defense. Phillip Rivers is pick city, waiting to happen. Why squander your opportunity right now in this division, messing around with a guy that simply just can't do it anymore?
Yeah, you know, one of the things that we usually do here on this show is if you say San Diego Chargers, you got to do push-ups. But back then they were the San Diego Chargers, so I'm going to let you get off on that. All right, one thing, too, and you mentioned that the turnovers could be the reason why this team loses. You talked about it, too. Brissett has thrown an interception on just 1.3% of his pass attempts. For Rivers, it's nearly triple that, guys. And that mark is 3.4% over the last couple seasons. Hey, when we return, the Titans came out. Browns enter with a formidable pass defense. defense as their 6 interceptions trail only the Colts and Seahawks for the league lead. But they'll face rookie Chase Claypool, who earned AFC Offensive Player of the Week honors after tying a rookie record with 4 touchdowns on Sunday. He was dynamic. Our Football Power Index favors the home team, the Steelers, in this one with a 57% chance to win, as both need a win to keep up with the division rivals in Baltimore. So we mentioned Chase Claypool. Dan and Key, Claypool has emerged seemingly as the #1 receiver for Big Ben.
Well, you can't be a #1 receiver unless you can run routes, and Chase Claypool's kind of put that on display. The slant route, Key, last week is the one that got my attention. This is going to be Claypool at the bottom of the screen. I just want everyone to watch the slant route that he wins on. It's a beautiful job of at the line of scrimmage, getting to depth, ball placement, and touchdown. But I want to kind of take a little bit of a closer look for everyone to see at home, because it's really a 3-step process that makes the route so special. I said you can't be a 1 unless you're route running. First of all, I want everyone to watch at the line of scrimmage, ball snapped. You're going to see this step. Key, what exactly is that step from
Dan,
Claypool?
it's just a simple jab step to get the DB to flip his hip. Sell a vertical. You got to sell a vertical as if you're going deep.
All right, so let's look at it. Bang, right there. All right, so he sells that vertical. I want to play a little bit of DB. You're going to be the receiver, socially distant on the coverage. Explain to me again why, if I'm a squared corner, that jab step matters so much.
Because I take that step. Now, you think I'm going vertical. I need you to flip your hip so I can get back on track to push up to get proper depth so that the quarterback timing is precise with me as I get 6 to 8 yards on my slant.
I love it. So let's look at it. So that corner right there, that's exactly what you're trying to get him to do with that.
Absolutely,
jab step,
100%.
All right, so the second step of this that I loved is watch Claypool. So often when receivers, especially young ones, they win, they go on a slant route right now, and it throws off everything for the quarterback. Watch how Claypool pushes up to his depth and then breaks. This is well done. Look at him. Get to his depth right there. Now, Key, I'm playing a corner again. Tell me why, after I've opened up my hips, it's important for you to get your depth.
Well, because the quarterback timing is he takes that 3-step drop. If you go too fast, there's 2 things that happen. This linebacker, although he's going to the flat, he has bad intentions.
Okay.
He'll knock the snot out of you.
Okay.
So you want to get the vertical to get to the second window, timing with Big Ben, and he hits it in rhythm. Now you can come out the back gate.
Beautiful. Now let's watch the third step. Okay, I love the throw. You tell me why you love the throw as a receiver.
Well, because he's protecting him. He puts it on his body. He's allowed to still catch the ball, not stop in stride and come out the back gate. He protects him from that safety. If he lays him out, that safety comes downhill. Now we're looking at something different.
Let me ask you this, though. I, as a quarterback, can't throw that ball there unless you do what?
Do exactly what we showed you earlier. Get my
steps.
depth, jab step, get my depth, make sure that I hit the second window and not force myself down too fast into that first window.
All right, the final part I love is this. We see receivers that are young catch this ball and they just get upfield. You're always taught as a receiver, right? Like catch,
Yeah,
get
one
upfield.
step, bam.
But I love this. Look at Claypool. He's going to run away from those defenders, out the back gate, and that equals that big touchdown. Listen, everyone thought maybe he's going to be the complementary piece to Juju Smith-Schuster, right? Very well might be becoming the #1 receiver in Pittsburgh. And Key, I'd say it's because he's an outstanding route runner at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and when you look at him in college, Notre Dame's offense wasn't quite what Pittsburgh Steelers' passing game is, but you got a veteran Hall of Fame quarterback throwing you the football. You're going to run the right routes. There's no question about it. The Pittsburgh Steelers, a long history of wide receivers, so I was never worried about his production in Pittsburgh despite having Juju there.
11's a playmaker.
I love it, guys. And when you think about Juju Smith-Schuster, it's important to note he missed practice today with a knee injury, so you got to think you'll be seeing a whole ton of Claypool against the Browns. Let's get back to last night. Some really fun moments in this one. Of course, the Titans with a big win over the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. And there were some great plays, Marcus Spears, that we want to get you all up to date on. So let's start with this one. Malcolm Butler interception, and he gets a little freaky with it.
Yeah, listen, he spins out of a tackle by Cole Beasley. They think he's down. Everybody relaxes, and then Malcolm Butler takes off again. Now, listen, I got to shout out Josh Allen as well for getting him on the ground, but this was a tremendous job keeping his feet and returning that ball, getting the Tennessee Titans in their own territory.
Okay, this one made us cringe a little bit, Marcus. You'll walk us through the whole thing, okay?
Celebrations can be catastrophic. Tannehill does a tremendous job because the Buffalo Bills lost contain, and then here he hyperextends his knee. Thank goodness for 16 days off with fresh legs, and he could survive that catastrophic landing.
We all took a deep breath when he was okay. And then how about this? Derrick Henry with the stiff arm.
I keep telling these people in these football games, Laura, you cannot get in this club if you 18 years old. You must be 21. We sell choice beverages. And Josh Norman obviously thought he was old enough to go through the front door, and Derrick Henry was the bouncer.
And Derrick Henry just keeps doing that to people, too, as you said, Marcus, and he's been talking about it for years because we keep asking him. Here's the Countdown Crew with more on Henry and these stiff arms.
There's one stiff arm, there's two stiff arms. That stiff arm that's becoming legendary. Touchdown, Titan!
I think I was in Pop Warner. That's when I first did it. That's just been my favorite thing to do as far as like getting the defender off me, just stiff arming him and getting him down and continue to run the ball until it came natural to me. Sometimes if they get too close, you try to stiff arm them, they can grab your hand and try to swipe it off if you keep trying to fight them away. But the aiming point is probably your head, because I want to be disrespectful. I want to try to knock you to the ground.
Here comes Henry to the left with a stiff arm, throws a man down. Josh Norman, get you some. Oh, my.
If I'm coming this way and I come back around and you come over, I'm trying to throw you, trying to make you fall. Yep.
Okay, the funniest thing to me about it is every time he does that, it just looks like he was just kind of flicking off a fly or something. Like, it doesn't even look like it's that hard for him to do. What do you guys think?
Look, I don't want to be in that position if I'm Josh Norman, that's for sure. And you got to know what you're running up on. Sometimes it got to be a business decision. Chop his legs down, man. You running up on that dude like that, and you ain't trying. Poor Josh.
Oh.
Listen,
He's going to be on the loop for a long time.
Listen, Josh, take some solace, man. I know what it's like to do something that you regret on national television. It'll go away. It takes about 10 years. 10 years or so, but it'll go away.
Marcus, wouldn't you argue that Dan's embarrassing thing has never
Why
gone
do we
away?
need video?
Oh, no. I didn't do
This
it,
is
Dan.
shut up.
I didn't do it, Dan.
God.
You realize you out of bounds. You still running, though.
They actually don't. I don't even know.
Do you realize that you out of bounds, though?
No, Keith. I did not realize it, obviously.
Still running, man.
I do love the shot of Dan when he takes the helmet off, and it's like, man, Dan, but you know what?
Marcus
You're
put them up to that. I
Yeah,
guarantee
he did.
it.
Marcus paid some people off on the show today to run that.
I had nothing to do with it. It really does look like something somebody with the last name Orlovsky would do, though. I will say that.
Now you're going after his last name?
The last name is a struggling last name. I'm not going to.
Tell your sister I apologize, Dan. I apologize to your sister, but that is an Orlovsky trait right there.
Well, the one thing
Thank
I'd
God the
say is,
kids got T as a mama.
Dan, it's only gone uphill from there. So you've got a great future ahead of you, and it's all going to be okay.
We'll give Josh.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, Josh Norman. All right, we got more coming your way. Le'Veon Bell, no longer a Jet. He's looking to get back to his winning ways after a tumultuous time in New York. Where will the bell ring next? Corny. All right, we got some thoughts coming up on NFL Live. We'll be right back.
Donald, ladies and gentlemen, he arguably is the best player in the NFL, let alone a non-QB MVP. The pressure that he's asserting to people and the way he changes game plans put him sternly in the conversation.
No question, Marcus, he's in that conversation, but you can't have a conversation without having Myles Garrett in 6 sacks in 5 games. Think about it, 15 tackles, solos on the edge as a defensive player, defensive end at that, and his team is 4-1. How could you have that conversation without adding him to the mix?
I love it, guys. So we'll see who ends up being in this conversation. But then again, we all know that Dan Orlovsky is going to campaign for a quarterback to win it. All right, some big news happened yesterday with the Jets releasing Le'Veon Bell. So he now looking for a new opportunity, and certainly it'll be really interesting to see who picks him up. More on that momentarily. But how about this? Since the start of last season, there have been 140 different players that have recorded a 20-yard rush. Bell, not one of them. 140 guys have done it. He hasn't. He's logged 270 straight rushes without a 20-yard gain. That's the 5th longest streak over the last 10 seasons, according to Elias. And to be fair, the Jets handed Bell just 86 outside rushes, the fewest among any back, with at least 200 carries in that span. So could have to do with Adam Gase and that Jets offense. Here's what Le'Veon Bell tweeted after this news came out. Said, got a lot to prove. I'm ready to go. So we bring back Adam Schefter into this conversation. We start there. Adam, what's the market look like for Bell at this point?
First and foremost, Lord, nobody made a last-ditch effort to trade for Le'Veon Bell before the Jets officially released him at 4 o'clock today. The last conversations for a trade that the Jets had were with the Miami Dolphins, were with the Las Vegas Raiders, the New England Patriots. They had conversations with those teams. The issue was nobody was willing to take on Le'Veon Bell's contract at this time. And so the Jets made the decision to move on from Le'Veon Bell. Now, keep in mind, he is scheduled to make this year $7 million more. The Jets owe him that money. So really, he's not going to get more money from a team. It's a question of where he wants to go to collect that money. Whether the new team pays him $1 million, $2 million, whatever it may be, it's counted against the Jets' $7 million. So the expectation is he'd sign a one-year deal for the veteran minimum with the team of his choosing, where he wants to go, where he can be productive, where he can win, where he can revitalize a career so that he can become a free agent again in the offseason of COVID this winter, when the market for free agents is expected to be a bit depressed because the salary cap is going down.
Yeah, no, those are all really good points. I mean, as you're saying it, of course, Le'Veon Bell has ties to the Steelers, so you wonder about that. Dan, give us a team that you think, though, makes a lot of sense for Bell, a guy that we still believe on this show still has something in the tank.
Yeah, I'll say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? Like, if you look at all the really good offenses in the NFL, or most of them, they've got pass-catching backs. I've been saying it for weeks. The Bucs are missing a pass-catching back. I'm not talking about a back that can go be a part of your check down and you can throw it to him. That's something Fournette can do. Don't tell me Ronald Jones. Like that's not the answer. They need a guy that you can utilize as a piece. They've got a standard of expectation right now. The culture's in place. They're a contending playoff football team. Tom Brady that is something that he's notorious to be comfortable with. I don't think you bring in Le'Veon Bell as a running back. I think you bring Le'Veon Bell as a piece. I got 11 pieces. I'm going to use him as a piece one time. I'd flex him out 10 to 12 times a game, get him in matchups. And so I think Tampa Bay's a perfect fit. Chicago's good, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, all that. If I'm the Bucs, I'm making the call.
Well, you could be the Bucs, but I think he's heading to Vegas. That's just me. No one told me that, but Adam just said that they had some rumblings going on. When you think about John Gruden, you think about the offense and the running backs. Yes, Jacobs is there. There's no question about it. But you always want two. Sure. One's not good enough. And I go back to when Coach Gruden had Ricky Waters when he was the offensive coordinator in Philadelphia. Or I look at Charlie Garner he had in Oakland. Very similar. Patient running backs, can catch the ball out of the backfield. And he likes toys. You know, Coach Gruden want to stick his chest out there with a nice toy.
Yeah, he can never have enough. I mean, they drafted Henry Ruggs. We thought a lot of that was about speed, but he's done even more with him. Great call there. What do you think, Marcus, a destination potentially for Le'Veon Bell, and how you think he'd fare there?
Arizona Cardinals, and I think he would fare well. Listen, they are in a position now where they hadn't got the production that they want to get out of Kenyon Drake, but I don't think that this offense wanted to be heavy run centric. So it goes a lot with what they did acquiring DeAndre Hopkins, what Kyler Murray can do, and now you add Le'Veon Bell, who can continue to spread the field, find one-on-one matchups, and get some production out of the backfield. And another thing, like, I'm not judging Le'Veon Bell off of what just happened in New York. Damn it, everybody should be trying to get out of New York. Everybody should be trying to get a trade or be released or cut so they can go somewhere else and have success in this league. Because right now, we all know what the Jets are, right? We looking at Sam Darnold right now, and people questioning, can he really play football? Well, hell, we had the same questions about Tannehill when he was in Miami. And Dan just told America he in the MVP conversation. So we all know what the situation is with the New York Jets. Le'Veon Bell still got some juice left in him, and I think he needs to be with a team with other weapons so he can exploit people the way he did when he was in Pittsburgh with all of those weapons.
Yeah, you mentioned Sam Darnold, and as Sheffy reported earlier, he's out this Sunday, and that means that we'll see Flacco start in his place. Sheffy, I want you to answer this question. Where do you think that we'll see Bell go?
Well, I think there's a lot of places he could go. I think he's going to want to go to a winning franchise. I think that's the important part here, a place where he thinks he's got a chance to win some games this year, compete for a Super Bowl. He spent the last 2 years in New York with the Jets, and he wants to go win some games here. That's something he hasn't done a lot the last 2 years. So I don't know where it will be, but it will be with a team, I believe, that has a chance to make a playoff run this season.
Yeah, it's important to clarify, as you brought up, Shefty, this is up to Bell. Like, where does he want to go? Which, considering how his career has gone over these past few years, you would think that might be kind of fun for him to be able to make that decision. I saw you, Shefty, working the thumbs on the phone there. You've got some news about the Patriots to tell us?
Well, it's now official. We said earlier that Field Yates reported that Cam Newton was expected back at practice on Thursday, and the Patriots officially have activated Cam Newton off the reserve COVID-19 list, which means he will be at practice tomorrow, and he is on track to start Sunday against Drew Lock and the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, Drew Lock back at practice as well. Great stuff from everybody here, and we will be right back on NFL Live. Hey, Bruce Arians and the Bucs have another tall task.